Hi, everybody. Welcome to another edition of the ACHA Power Play Live here on the Captain Lou Sports Network on YouTube and, of course, on our Facebook pages, the Extravaganza and the ACHA Power Play Facebook pages, and also on X at The Real Captain Lou. Again, want to invite you to subscribe to our YouTube channel, which is the Captain Lou Sports Network. You get all of our ACHA Power Play podcast in their entirety, live and archived. Season 10 of the Power Play is live and ongoing, and episode 4, of course, tonight. And we got a great show planned for you. As the road to St. Louis is a month into the journey already. Actually, less than 5 months to go. It's usually a 6-month road when we start in September. We're a month in, and the light is still a little bit of ways away, but we've got the marathon part of the schedule, which we like to call it until Christmas time, and then the sprint after the holidays with less than 2 months to go. So a lot to talk about tonight. Without any further ado, though, we got very special guests waiting in the wings, waiting to come in onto the ice, if you will. The head coach of the Eagles of Florida Gulf Coast, Division II, that's Eric Mabie. Eric, thanks for taking time out tonight to be with us. How are you?
Awesome, Lou. Thanks for having me. Looking forward to it.
Oh, hey, the pleasure's ours. Hockey season's upon us, and you guys, again, off to a great start this year. What's been the secret to success so far for you this year?
I don't think it's a huge secret. I think we're trying to figure things out down here still at the same time. We always want to start fast, and obviously coming out of the gates 8-0 with some pretty good wins have been moving us in the right direction. But I mean, it really all started with having that opening weekend against Liberty and bringing them down here to start the year. We really do take pride in trying to play as tough a schedule as we can. And we felt that starting the season against them was a good test for our group, bringing in a bunch of new guys and trying to get the season off on the right foot. So we're happy with where we're at right now, but obviously a long way to go here.
Yeah, there's a couple of things I want to touch on that comment. You mentioned being able to get a tough schedule with your history of success over the last couple of decades, if you will. Does that make it easier to get opponents to come and play you, and for maybe you to go take a couple of road trips throughout the year?
Yeah, I think it goes a little bit of both ways. I think that there's obviously teams that want to come down here just to, whether it's to come down to Southwest Florida and enjoy the weather a bit, but also I think that we've shown that we're a good opponent to have on team schedules with how everything's formatted. As everybody know with the rankings in the ACHA, obviously having a high strength of schedule helps, and we feel that we provide that to a lot of teams. And we've had a lot of the same teams coming down over the years, and we also bring new teams down every year. We're trying to give teams the opportunity to not only play us, but we want the opportunity to see them and kind of widen our horizons a bit. So, there's a wide array of teams that we've had coming down for a long time. We built great relationships with them, whether it's, the coaching staff to coaching staff or even players to players. You see the same team come down 3-4 years in a row, and the guys get to know each other. There's that mutual respect, and overall, I think it builds for good competition for both sides.
And you mentioned the schedule again. You started out with Liberty, and it got you the confidence. Not taking anything away from Delaware coming up, but after that, you start a tough schedule. You go on the road. You going out to Centene, I believe, for 3 games, and then you've got Lindenwood again back before the break. So there's a lot of good tests waiting for you here in the first half.
Yeah, and that's no secret. I mean, we want to play the best. We want every weekend to be a good test for us. And I know we've had some good opponents so far this year with the Liberties and Iowas and the handful of other teams that we've played, and Delaware coming in this weekend. We're trying to make sure that we don't look too far ahead. I know it's cliche, but we play pretty much every weekend besides Thanksgiving. And this semester, actually, we're taking off Halloween weekend. So no games this following this coming up weekend. So don't want to look at too much, but we have our eyes on that trip to St. Louis. We've had our fair share of demons in that rink over the last 4 years, starting in 2022, which I'm sure we'll get to some national tournament stuff, but we haven't had much success in that rank. And obviously going up there in the middle of November to play Lindenwood, Liberty, and Montana State, they're 3 of the best teams in the country, and they've all kind of been pulling the weight in the right direction to bring the league up to an even higher standard. And then, of course, with Lindenwood coming down to the weekend after that, it's going to be 5 tough games in 7 to 9 days, and we really can't wait for it.
Well, one more thing on the schedule. One of the things that I've noticed in covering the ACHA over the last 10, 11 years is the amount of showcases that are popping up throughout the country. The one you're going to in St. Louis, Chicago's got a big one. I think there's one Nashville area right after the first of the year. Love how that's grown to give so much more exposure for you guys in the ACHA and in all the divisions.
Yeah, I think it gives teams the opportunity, whether it's a budget issue or a travel issue that some teams have. Mm-hmm. It gives them the opportunity to get themselves into one city where they can, play 2 or 3 opponents that maybe they wouldn't normally be able to play. I know obviously there's teams in the ACHA that are fully funded. There's teams that, their students pay a lot of money, and we definitely fall into that boat of our students paying a lot of money. And with that, we try to give them the best experience possible. And, whether it's playing home games or road games, we enjoy going on the road and we enjoy playing those tough tests. And we definitely try to make sure that when we do go to those showcases are the ones that we could play, some of the top teams, but also I can say over the years with them too, it's really developed into a much deeper league. You go top to bottom in a handful of regions, and maybe years prior you're looking, teams ranked 1 through 5 in each region are really the cream of the crop. And now you go down and see teams ranked, 13, 14, 15 that can win any given day.
It's absolutely amazing. You go to these regional tournaments in February, which I still have yet to meet a coach that wants to play in them. They'd rather have the automatic berth, but oh my goodness, you mentioned it, from 3 to 14 is just incredible how close, we talked, with the head coach of North Carolina State, how close they've been. And it is a testament to how much it's grown.
Yeah, it's gotten much deeper. And obviously with the changing format of 1 through 16 going to regionals now, it's getting things in a much different light. And obviously now this is going to be the first time. And I've been around the program now for 12, 13 years, and we haven't gone to regionals with the auto bid. But now this year with us having to go, we're really getting ready for that trip in February.
Wow. See, no, I'm glad that I had the chance to get you on there. Dave Kurtz doesn't tell me this stuff, so I'm glad I heard it from you.
Yeah.
So it's no auto bids no more then.
No auto bids. It's something I haven't shied away from. It's not something that we're happy with. We think that the regular season should mean something, and building a hard schedule should mean something. And now we're kind of getting away from that a little bit. But at the end of the day, what the league tells us we got to do, and what's decided there at the league meetings is what we're going to do. And we're going to be making a trip. I can confidently say we'll be making a trip to regionals at some point later this season. And at the end of the day, you got to go win 2 games in that format now, and then hopefully get that berth to St. Louis. So we're gonna go. We're gonna try to go in there as the 1 seed and see if we can make some noise and make the trip, and then get on to St. Louis.
So is this a single elimination then?
Yep, it's same format. So instead of I believe it was either 3 through 14 or 3 through 16 that we're going. Forgive me, I'm not super familiar with it as we haven't had to go, but it's 1 through 16 now, and you have to win 2 games. Same situation for everybody, and single elimination. And it's the regular season. You play all year to get that number 1 ranking, and now you got to go play a single elimination game. So we'll see how it goes.
Wow. Eric Mabie joining us, head coach of Florida Gulf Coast, the Eagles, perennial power throughout the years, the regular season and the national tournament. Getting back to your team, you said you had a bunch of new players. I like the mix that you've got. You've got some of the boys that have had a taste of going to St. Louis, and now you got some new kids coming in. Talk a little bit about that blend, and obviously it's working so far. But tell us how that's come along for you.
Yeah, I think for us it was obviously identifying the seniors that we had leaving and the roles that they filled, but also trying to take those steps every year to be better, right? And it's at FGCU, we're playing to win a championship every year, and we've fallen short of that the last few years. Although we've gotten close, I mean, we look back with good memories of those runs, but the goal is to win every year. So we're trying to retool and do it the best way we can. And having a handful of returners, like you said, that have had that taste and they're hungry about it. They feel like they've let things down, and us as a whole group, we've let things down. And bring in some new guys, whether it's transfers from the NCAA level or a couple kids out of junior and a couple ACHA transfers as well. It's we got 4 new forwards this year, 2 new defensemen, and a new goaltender. So we don't carry the biggest roster. We only have 24 guys on our roster. I know a handful of other teams are up in that 30 area. And, we have a smaller group. And when the injury bug hits like it has right now, it kind of makes guys step into bigger roles. But up and down the lineup, whether it's the new guys like Chad Notzel and Cole Bauman, or returners and Shane Tomlinson, Jake Court, Carson Engelman, you go up and down our lineup, whether it's a senior or freshman, and we have guys contributing, and that's what we're going to need here to go on a long run.
Yeah, you got 16 guys that have scored a goal for you so far this year in 8 games. I mean, that's uncanny.
Yeah, no, we pride ourselves on that depth. I mean, when myself and my coaching staff, Justin Goldman and Spence Van Team, when we sit down every week in meetings where we look at our depth chart, and of course we have lines 1 through 4 and whatnot, but we feel like any given night we could turn a line over and take any matchup, or we have guys that aren't touching the ice for power play that probably they could definitely be on the power play. But at the end of the day, if they all buy into what they're doing, and it's all cliche stuff, but they can all get rewarded, and we need that contribution up and down the lineup, because, come February, March, when the ice gets tighter and the games get tighter, it's those tight games. And although we're putting pucks, never really trying to defend hard, and up until last Saturday, we ended up giving up 4 to Bentley, but the 3 games before that, we gave up 1 goal in every game, and that's more important for us than the 8 or 9 that we're scoring some nights.
Well, there's no doubt about it. You talk to any coach, yourself included, they say defense wins championships. And, you mentioned it, the goalie stats are just, you've got 3 goalies that you can rely on. And, the one with the quote unquote worst GAA is 2.5, and the save percentage is still over 9. That's amazing.
Yeah, no, I mean, especially at the goaltending position, having 3 guys that we can rely on. Keegan Wise has been with us for a few years. He's our most veteran guy in the group, being a 3rd-year guy. And Mason DeCary came in last year as a true freshman, and really surprised us all. He ended up playing about half our games last year, ended up getting into a game at Nationals where he battled hard for us. And then the freshman, Kai Gerard, right now. We got 3 guys that it's a really tight room for the 3 of them, and they're all competing every single week to get in the net, because we do feel confident in all 3 of them. And at some point, they're all going to have to win games for us. So up and down the lineup, whether it's forwards on the back end or in net, that team defense aspect for us is really what it comes down to. I feel like when we have won our championships, we've been stingy defensively, and obviously there's years that things don't go your way, you don't get the job done. But if we can focus on defending the right way, we feel like we can transport our game where it needs to go.
One of the things I've noticed about your teams over the years, watching them near and far, is the discipline. You don't take the dumb penalties, or make the silly mistakes in the back end.
Yeah, I think that comes from I'd like to say it comes from myself, and previous to me, Bob Brinkworth, who really instilled that. But it comes from the character of the guys, how tight they are, how they hold each other accountable, and they know that there's an expectation of, they don't want to let each other down. And don't get me wrong, there's times throughout the year where moments happen and, the mistake gets made or the bad penalty happens. But if we're talking about mistakes in the D zone, we don't want our guys afraid to make mistakes, but we don't want to play the game in a way where we're trying to force plays the whole night. We're going to live to fight another day. We're going to get pucks out. If we have to defend for a certain amount of time in the game with the ebbs and flows, that's what we're going to do. And if there's a consistent game that can be played not only over 60 minutes, but throughout the entirety of the season, I feel like that's when you can kind of lean on that. When things get tight in March and you're in a tight game, at some point you got to revert back to those kind of the morals of your game and the things that define you. So it's definitely a lot of discipline and, character from the group.
I want to talk to you a little bit about hockey in Florida and in the South. Being spoiled, up here in Michigan, we've been around it our whole life, and I know it's been played down there, but the popularity in the last couple of decades has just exploded. I know with the Florida Panthers and Tampa Bay being successful, it helps, but does it make it easier for you to recruit players down there? Because I see your roster is littered with guys from all over the North America.
Yeah, I think that I wouldn't say it makes it easier or harder to recruit. I think that what helps us bring guys down here is obviously the resume that the program's had, and we'd be naive to say that where we are located doesn't help that, being in Southwest Florida. But overall, I think like you said, the Florida Panthers and Tampa Bay Lightning having success has been really critical to just growing the game as a whole. And with that, it's really got the population more invested in the game. It's had everybody more bought in. It has more buzz around the rinks here and there. The youth hockey landscape, it's gotten bigger and bigger, more AAA programs in the state. There's a handful of players that are getting drafted now every year from Florida. And, people see that, and it kind of gets it going on a wider stage, and it just keeps things going in the right direction. So the more we can grow this game down here, I think it's better for everybody involved. And obviously, we have the Florida Panthers, Tampa Bay Lightning. We're grateful to share a rink with the Florida Everblades of the East Coast League. So having a good relationship with them, and the guys get the young kids seeing those guys around the rink all the time. It keeps them excited and hungry, and it's something that we're trying to keep building on.
And going to class and going to practice and staying disciplined. I mean, that is the biggest thing that I've learned watching, the ACHA teams over the years is they've got to be smart to be able to do that, to keep the discipline and the organizational skills to do it, because first and foremost, they're going there for an education.
Definitely. I think that it's something that we take pride into as well. And not only us, but even a lot of the coaching staffs I've talked to is, the graduation rate for a lot of these teams is higher and higher every year. And not only that, a lot of these schools in the ACHA, they're getting tougher to get into, which I think is a good thing for the league as a whole. It's getting better kids into school. It's getting kids that want to graduate. It's getting kids that take pride in the classroom. And I think at a lot of organizations, it's like these guys, they're not only hockey players, but they're there to enjoy college. They're there to have a good experience and get their education. But they also know in the back of their mind that everybody's replaceable in a way. Not saying that you're trying to get rid of a guy here and there, but like if they don't keep up their grades in the classroom, obviously there's eligibility concerns with the league, and you have to maintain that standard and be able to. I think that they use hockey as a way to keep them engaged sometimes, and it really does push them in the right direction.
So is recruiting a 12-month-a-year job for you now?
I wouldn't say it's a 12-month-a-year job. I think it's I think we're lucky down here where we've had a kind of a good base of players that have come through for the last 12, 13 years since the first championship in 2012, and we have whether it's a player coming to practice one day and telling me, hey, I have a buddy that's playing here that's kind of interested in coming down, or we get contacted by a handful of guys each year that have some high interest in the program. And, having those conversations, we don't get the ability to travel much with the budget that we have to be able to go out and recruit. So it's a lot of video time. It's a lot of phone calls with coaches and parents and kids, and kind of learning about them as a person first, and then exploring the aspect of them as a player, because it's competitive to get down here first and foremost for the university. But then getting on the hockey team here, it's a challenge as well. And I think that they take pride in being able to accomplish that. And we're just going to try to keep building this thing.
No, I hate to bring something bad up, but it's like the football coach that I cover when I do play-by-play up here. There's only one coach at the end of the year that's happy, and it's the one that wins it all. What's the one thing, the biggest thing that the players, you guys have gotten to the semifinals, it's at least pretty much just about every year. What's the biggest thing that the kids took from that last year as they come into this year with their hot start?
Yeah, I think honestly, this all started back in the 2022 championship against University of Mary and Dan Huntley when they had an excellent team, and we ended up going 3 overtimes with them in the national championship game, and had the lead in the third period. Thought we carried the play a lot of the time, and Dan's team did a phenomenal job and ended up winning their championship there. And since then, we still have a kid on our team right now that was on that team, and following that and not getting it done in Marlboro, and then the last 2 years losing in the semifinals, like I said earlier, there's an expectation here, and it's to win the national championship. And last year with Gary Gardner and Lindenwood getting it done, it's well deserved by them. They have a phenomenal team, great program, and we're lucky to have a really good relationship with them. But we're hungry. It does leave a sour taste in our mouths that the job was not completed. And each and every year, we have a couple of seniors right now that have been through some really hard losses, and you can hear it on day one when we're getting in training camp. I don't want to say it's all they're talking about, but there's a lot of buzz about, hey, there's one mission here. We haven't gotten the job done. There's no pointing fingers about why this or that didn't happen. We have a new group now. Here's the mission. Let's get on the right page and let's push for it. So it's a hungry group, and the hot start has been affected by that. I think that when they come in early and they're hungry like that, it sets the tone right away for the expectation of how hard we have to play and the right way that we have to play. But we're 8 games in right now. We got probably 26, 27 to go if we're going to get this thing done. So we're just kind of trying to take this day by day and know what the goal is at the end of the year. But it's cliche, but we got to deal with Delaware right now. But overall as a whole, we are looking at the end and doing what we can to make sure we're ready when we get there.
So you're off to the hot start again. If there is one thing you think the boys may have to work on to just kind of keep it going, what would that be?
A huge part of our game is our forecheck. We take pride in that. We think it dictates our entire game with our legs. If we can get on pucks hard and forecheck teams the right way. We are getting on them hard right now, but I don't think our routes are as honed in as we want them to be. And when those can get honed in as a group in terms of on-ice structure, if we're connected on the forecheck and we've just connected on the way back, and then, it just kind of sets everything in place from there. So that's the one thing that I feel we need to work on. And that, don't get me wrong, there's a long list of other things that we need to work on as well. But, we're focusing on that right now and going to keep building our game that way.
Where did you coach beforehand, and what was your playing career like?
So I grew up playing AA and AAA hockey down here in Florida, and actually after my U18 year, we went to the national tournament. Before that, I was going to go to Florida State and go to school with my brother and play ACHA there, which they play. I think it's 2 or 3 hours away from school, and it didn't seem like the best at the time. It seemed like a really good time for me, but after the U18 national tournament, I was able to have some success there and started having the junior discussions here and there, and ultimately. Right at the end of the really ability to apply to FGCU, I had a couple buddies that were going to school here, and they reached out and said, "Hey, why don't you give this place a shot?" And ended up coming here back in 2013 to Florida Gulf Coast and played until 2018, and had a phenomenal experience here, getting to experience both Division II and Division III. Really enjoyed both situations, and then right after graduating in 2018 was lucky enough to have Bob Brinkworth, who I know a lot of you guys know and this and that, but he started this program with Matt Mabie a long time ago and, had a ton of success. Bob with his playing career into coaching, and then Bob was grateful enough to bring me in as an assistant coach there in that 2018-19 season whereas my first year as an assistant under Bob, we were able to win a championship. And, over the years, Bob kind of paved the way to have himself step down and let me take over the reins. And I'm very grateful for it. But so now going into my 7th year, I believe, coaching here at FGCU, it's definitely something I don't take for granted. And it's also something that, we want to keep taking the next steps. We have conversations weekly behind the scenes of what we can do to be better as a program and to take those next steps. So that's what we're doing.
7 years.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Man, it just seems like yesterday. I remember you as a player, as I remember, I don't know, it was a semifinal game that I lost my voice.
It might have been. It might have been the semis or finals. Maybe it was either Columbus or Dallas. Yeah, we had some games. We had Northeastern and it was that was a fun run. So a lot of good memories there.
You guys played so well in that, yeah, for sure. So who was your favorite NHL player growing up?
Growing up, I grew up in South Florida as a Florida Panthers fan and season tickets and all that good stuff. So it was a rough ride for a long time. I remember watching Pavel Bure when he first got there, but after that, it was guys like Stephen Weiss and Nathan Horton and David Booth, some older names down there in South Florida. And, we've been kind of spoiled the last 3 or 4 years as Panthers fans, but before then it was pretty rough. So we're definitely enjoying this run that they've had lately.
So if you got free time, what do you like to do?
So being Southwest Florida, whether it's, going out on the boat or, playing some golf here and there, it's a nice situation down here, being able to get outside and, enjoy the weather, or, even just going to the rink with my fiance and some friends and, catching an Everblades game or bouncing around town. It's there's a lot to do down here, that's for sure. And it's a very populated area. So just anything outside, really. Just trying to, I would like to say get away from the rink, but it always seems like we get drawn back there for certain things. So, just try to hit the golf course or get on the water and, really get the mind off of things.
Well, I just got to tell you, at 3 o'clock, it was funny as I sat outside in our patio. It was about 66 degrees, and 15 minutes later, it was raining and 50. So I envy you for that. So, well, Eric, this has been great. I appreciate you taking time out tonight. I love talking. I could talk with you for an hour. I appreciate you coming on. Keep up the great work down there. You guys do an amazing job with Gulf Coast. You're being a perennial power. I know it's lofty standards, and sometimes it's difficult to keep it up, though, isn't it?
Yeah, it's hard. I mean, year after year, the league itself has gotten so much better, which has made us get better every year. And it's something where having that goal at the end of the year and also that standard that, like you said, comes with trying to win every year. You could say it gets stressful, this and that, but at some point over the years, it's kind of become second nature where season starts, the expectation, things are going to go the way that they're going to go at the end of the year. But being able to put yourself in the best position to have success is all we can do. But, we're looking forward to the challenge. It's been too long since we've been able to get the job done.
Well, name me a coach that wouldn't want to be in that position every year, eh?
Exactly. Yeah, no, we're spoiled. And I want to thank you, too, for all the work that you do to promote the league and get stories like this out there, whether it's, talking to the NC State coach a few weeks ago or just getting online every now and then and being able to promote the ACHA, because there's a lot of good people behind the scenes that don't get recognized. And there's a lot of people around the country, though, who do see the work that you guys do, and it doesn't go unnoticed. So thank you for that.
Thank you, Eric. That means a lot. It's a labor of love, just like what you're doing, for sure.
Exactly.
Eric, well, good luck the rest of the year. Good luck this weekend against Delaware. And good Lord willing, and the creek don't rise, hope to see you down in St. Louis. I know it's a ways off, but it's the ultimate goal. So hope to see you there in March. Thank you again for coming on.
Awesome, Lou. Thanks for having me. We'll talk soon, all right?
You betcha. Have a good day.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye. Eric Mabie, the head coach of Florida Gulf Coast, the Eagles, off to a great start, 8-0, as he mentioned. They got a weekend set with Delaware coming up. And then, again, we talked about it with Eric. The schedule gets tougher, but that's every coach likes that. It's a good measuring stick. And he said the playoff points are the computer rankings that helps with them. And they've got some big weekend games coming up or in November with Liberty and with Montana State, who went to the finals last year. And, of course, Lindenwood, who won it all. And then a return trip with Lindenwood. And then in the second half, they've got a big slate of games coming up as well. So if you want to be the best, you got to play the best. And that's what they do every year. And it's such a great program. They've got championship pedigree, and you could tell their focus. You could tell just by talking to Eric, their focus. So, again, thanks to Eric Mabie, the head coach of Florida Gulf Coast here, their Division II team. All right, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to take a look at the rankings in men's Division I and women's I. D2 and D3, they haven't come out yet. They don't come out until November, and along with women's D2 as well. So we're going to take a look at men's I and men's II. Maybe some big games going on in the area or in the nation coming up this weekend. So you're watching the ACHA Power Play right here on the Captain Lou Sports Network. Hi, everybody. Captain Lou here. Hey, is there a ball game you want to go to last minute? How about the Spartans at Spartan Stadium? Go to the Big House to watch the Wolverines. Is there an NFL game you want to go to? Lambeau Field, Ford Field, wherever, Baltimore. How about the Tigers for the pennant drive? Well, go to SeatGeek. Get those tickets there. Use the promo code Captain Lou right on the screen, and you'll get $20 off of your purchase. It's that simple. So go to the Spartan game. Go to the Big House. But use the promo code Captain Lou at SeatGeek, and you'll be all set. I didn't mention it to Eric. You know how smart I was not to mention it, that Detroit beat Florida last week, right? I know we got them while they're down. I get it. I'm sure they'll return the favor, or try to, when they play again down in Florida later on this year. So, again, thanks to Eric Mabie for coming on the show. Welcome back, everybody, to the ACHA Power Play. Eric, the head coach of Florida Gulf Coast, Division II men's ACHA, off to an 8-0 start. And and he brought some breaking news. I didn't realize this. I guess I didn't see it in the notes. I should do a better job of it. I'm glad he brought it up. Regionals coming up in February take on a new meaning now. 16 teams There is no automatic berths anymore in the 4 divisions. That's crazy. So the 1 and 2 seeds every year got the automatic berth into the nationals, and then it was 3 through 14 playing a 3-day tournament. Now that's not the case. Now it's 1 through 16, and you got to win 2 games to get in to get to the 4. So, wow, you talk about it coming down to that weekend. It's going to make it even more exciting. And I got to tell you that it's a good prep to get to the national tournament. But boy, oh boy, it's like Division I in the men's, where you can't take a period off, you can't take a shift off. Before you know it, the momentum is against you, and you're down a couple, 2-0. But so we'll expound on that throughout the year. It's crazy. Well, that's that's a big change coming up this year in the qualifying for the Division II. Those regional tournaments, I've been blessed to be able to be a part of them. The Division III and Division II for the men's, and I got to tell you, it's great hockey for me. I know it's very stressful for the coaches, and you get those teams that get on those runs, some of the lower seeds. I always bring it up, but Iowa a few years ago, they got all the way to the championship game down in Marlboro, or out in Marlboro in Massachusetts. And then you've got teams like Miami and Indiana. The year after that, Indiana, they had to qualify. They were a 4 seed, and they went all the way and won the whole thing. So yeah, it's there. It's the top 2 seeds now. It's not the golden ticket to get to St. Louis. So the road to St. Louis for the Division II teams has gotten that much a little bit more difficult. So we'll obviously keep an eye on that as we go out through the year. All right, let's, as promised, let's take a quick look at the rankings right now. Let's go to men's Division I. And the UNLV Skating Rebels, again, are still the top team in the land, as they're ranked number 1. Adrian College is at number 2. Minot is at number 3. Liberty is at 4. Ohio is at 5. Jamestown is at 6. Drury is at 7. And Maryville is at 8. Niagara is at 9. Grand Canyon at 10. Utah at 11. Calvin 12. Arizona 13. And University of Mary is at 14. So those are the top 14 so far. I'm just checking my list real quick to see if there is any new rankings. Nope, those are the same ones. All right. Pitt is at 15. Purdue Northwest is at 16. 17 is Oklahoma. Grand Valley is up to 18th. Indiana Tech at 19. Then you got Westchester at 20. Oswego at 21. Delaware at 22. A newcomer to Division I, that's Hope College at 23. Midland at 24. And Arizona State at 25. So there's your top 25 in the men's. Again, the top 24 go to the national tournament in March. There's 8 automatic berths, so there's 16 at-large teams that will vie for the other spots. It's a single elimination tournament in men's Division I still. The top 8 get the opening round bye, which is huge, so then the other 16 play the opening round. So yeah, we'll keep an eye on that. That's the computer rankings will start. Those will come out the 1st of December, or I'm sorry, the 1st of November, first week of November, November 2nd. So, that's going to be the next test to find out who jumps where in the computer rankings. And, the teams that play in some of these tough tournaments, that's something to keep an eye on as well. So, all right, let's take now a look at the women's rankings in, let's see if I can bring those up here. I had them on my computer. What did I do with them? Sometimes I'll tell you. Let's see. Well, we'll take a look real quick here. The magic of live television and live podcasting. When you think you've got everything all set, something happens there. All right, here we go. The latest rankings. Well, I thought I had them anyways. Let's see. There we go. Here's the latest rankings. And for the first time in program history, McKendree University is ranked number 1 in the country in women's Division I. So congratulations to them. They're in the top spot. Midland has bumped up to number 2. Liberty at number 3. Arizona State at number 4. Maryville, who was ranked number 1 in the last poll, is at number 5. Michigan Dearborn is at 6. Minot State is at 7. Miami's at 8. Adrian is at 9. Michigan at 10. Indiana Tech at 11. UMass at 12. Jamestown at 13. Niagara at 14. And Lake Superior State is at 15. I know off the top of my head, coming up this weekend, Liberty and Adrian are going to renew a championship pedigree rivalry with a couple of games at in Adrian at Arrington. And so that's going to be one to keep an eye on as well. So those are your rankings in the women's Division II. Let's take a quick look, shall we, at, let's see, where's my schedule again? Doggone it. All right, here we go. Let's take a look at see what's coming up this weekend. Some of the games in Division II right off the top. I see Montana State and Dakota College of Botano are going to do battle. We talked about Delaware and Florida Gulf Coast playing a weekend set Friday and Saturday down at Florida Gulf Coast in Southwest Florida. Arkansas and Missouri going to do battle. Miami and Liberty, that's going to be a dandy matchup there for the weekend. They're going to be playing at the La Jolla Ice Center. Ohio and Alabama, like we said, doing battle as well. Those are some of the games in Division II of note. And you've got Missouri and Lindenwood, as we mentioned. So just kind of scrolling through a little bit, some of the other weekend games. Davenport and Roosevelt doing battle, Indiana Tech and Denison, just to name a few. Let's go now up to Division I here, if I can bring that on the screen real quick. Give you some of the big matchups in Division I. Starting on Thursday, we got a big matchup with Ohio and Adrian at Arrington Ice Arena, 7:30 Eastern time. That ought to be a good one. You've got Colorado and Arizona on Thursday and Friday. You've got Illinois and Davenport doing battle. Oswego State and Pitt, that's another big rivalry that's turned out to be a couple of ranked teams in Division I. Minot and Midland, again, doing battle. And then we've got North Carolina and North Carolina State. That should be a big weekend set of games for them. George Mason and Westchester doing battle. Let's see, other ones of note. Those are the big ones coming up this weekend. So those are ones that we'll keep an eye on this weekend as we are getting, as I mentioned, we're getting into the second month, really, of the Road to St. Louis coming up in March 2026. That's where we end as we're just getting warmed up as the season is starting to take shape. And we've got big showcases next week on the show. We're going to give you a complete rundown. Actually, you know what? Let me see. Let me take a quick break. I want to take one more break because I want to see if we can kind of get you an idea of what's coming up in Chicago coming up in about a month with that big showcase as well. So let's take another quick break. We'll be back in 30 seconds right here on the ACHA Power Play. Hi, everybody. Captain Lou here. Hey, is there a ball game you want to go to last minute? How about the Spartans at Spartan Stadium? Go to the Big House to watch the Wolverines. Is there an NFL game you want to go to? Lambeau Field, Ford Field, wherever, Baltimore. How about the Tigers for the pennant drive? Well, go to SeatGeek. Get those tickets there. Use the promo code Captain Lou right on the screen, and you'll get $20 off of your purchase. It's that simple. So go to the Spartan game. Go to the Big House. But use the promo code Captain Lou at SeatGeek, and you'll be all set. All right, welcome back, everybody. Yeah, I wanted to close the show tonight by just kind of getting the word out. I know there's some big showcases, some big weekends, especially the weekend before Thanksgiving. I know down in Centene, in the Division I ranks, you've got Calvin is going to be playing Liberty. Maryville is going to be there as well. They're hosting it. I think Arizona is going to be there. But I want to talk a little bit about what's going on in Chicago at the 2025 ACHA Chicago Classic. Capper Hockey Services is putting this on, and we've got some big teams going down there. This one right here is at the in Romeoville, Illinois, at the Canlin Romeo on Thursday. First game out of the chute, Purdue Northwest and UNLV are going to do battle, the defending national champions, and Delaware and Mary as well. And then on Friday, you've got Oregon. They're going to take on Northwest. Roosevelt and Rhode Island doing battle. You've got Mary versus Utah, a couple of highly ranked teams. Minot State and UNLV are going to do battle at 4:20 local time on rink 2 there. Jamestown and Ohio, they're going to be there as well. They're doing battle. Michigan Dearborn and Westchester. Michigan Dearborn with a lot of pedigree. How about Drury and Arizona State, Alabama, Illinois State? Those are the teams that are going to be there for that Chicago showcase. And then as well, you've got the Big Ten showcase is coming up, that same weekend in West Dundee. All the Big Ten teams in Division II and Division III. So many things going on. Let's just we'll see if we can't get you that real quick. But we got so many more tournaments we're going to talk about throughout the year. That one, you've got Wisconsin and Nebraska, Omaha in Division III, Purdue and Nebraska, Michigan and Illinois, Division II, Wisconsin and Indiana, Division II, Washington and Nebraska, Michigan State and Minnesota. All Big Ten schools are all going to be doing battle. So that's going to go on throughout the weekend. On Sunday, they'll have the Division III championship at 1:20 and then the Division II championship at 4:30 that weekend before Thanksgiving. And so, yeah, there's other showcases. You've got the St. Louis showcase, all kinds of them going on as well. So it's something to keep an eye on. And it's again, so much fun with these. It's great to see all these showcases throughout the year because it just highlights the great talent that's in the ACHA, and you get these highly ranked teams doing battle all throughout the year, and just get some battle tested for St. Louis. So, all right, well, that's going to do it here for another edition of the ACHA Power Play. Again, want to thank Eric Mabie. Great interview with him, the head coach of Florida Gulf Coast, their Division II team, undefeated. If you missed any of that interview, it's going to be on our YouTube channel, which is the Captain Lou Sports Network. I highly recommend that you subscribe to it. We'll have that interview in its entirety archived, and anything you might have missed in the program here tonight. Episode 5 will be next Tuesday, 8 o'clock. We may switch the time to 7, but keep an eye on that. We'll have those details for you next week. But it's going to be November starting in a couple of weeks. So that means only 4 months left before the road to St. Louis reaches its conclusion. So next Tuesday, we'll have another edition. It'll be episode 5 of the ACHA Power Play. All right. I want to thank everybody for welcoming us into your homes, on your computers, your iPhones, however you watched us around the world here on the ACHA Power Play, here on the Captain Lou Sports Network. Again, thanks to Eric Mabie for joining us, and thank you for taking time out to be with us. All right, this reminder, keep your heads up, keep your sticks down, keep your feet moving, and as always, keep your minds open. Be safe, everybody. Have a great week. Enjoy the hockey, and we'll see you next time here on the ACHA Power Play. So long.